What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, taking a look at Rush Duels for the first time. Yes, this is my current build. I would say this is a budget deck. I spent less than $20 in the game of Duel Links, and this is what I've gotten. And I've only lost one duel so far in the rank, match. I think I've played 16. I'm not trying to say that this is Platinum 1 or whatever the highest level is, King of Games, I think it's called. Not to say that you'll just be able to run through it, but if you're running something similar to this deck, I think you'll have a really good time, and this is a great starting point for people who are brand new to Master Duel. So starting off, of course, is Multi-Strike Dragon. Instead of focusing on the skills, and I do run one, it's called Legend Draw. It helps me basically get Summon School to my hand in a very specific situation. There are some other ones that you can do if you really manipulate your deck, but I'd rather just play the best cards, and that seems to have helped me quite a bit. This card lets you attack twice. I only own one copy. Again, this is budget, so I've only gone through one case of these new cards. Chasing after some other ones like Seven Rose Magician and such, and so on and so forth. So eventually I may run this at 2, but probably never at 3. This is the Shining Superstar. So lets your monsters gain a lot of attack. It also itself has 2200 attack, which is really, really nice. So I would recommend this. And again, you have to be careful about the number of level 2 or 2 tribute monsters. So level 6 or above that you're playing. But I'm very happy to see this at 1. It has come up a lot of times. It basically helps you get over everything. 3 copies of your Seven's Road Magician. Go back to the shiny one. This, of course, is probably the best monster in the game of Rush Duels right now. Helps you gain an absurd amount of attack. There's plenty of ways to boost the attack of this as well through various means. And I really do think that Spellcaster is the best version or the best deck in Rush Duels right now, at least my experience. So let's keep going. This is Excel Wonder Splat. Quite the name there. This is a single tribute and helps one of your monsters gain 200 attack. Increasing the level, I'm not really sure what that's for or what that would help you do, but in any case, it helps you mill a card, which of course is really good with Seven's Road Magician. It's a spellcaster, which you can discard. Lots of cool things. And it can even boost itself to 1800, which is a pretty respectable attack amount. It helps you get over everything in defense position, of course, but most single tribute monsters, 1800 is enough to get over it. 2 copies of Seven Roads Witch. I don't think I'd ever play this at more than that. This helps you cheat out your Seven's Road Magician while giving it, extra attack. Basically, really helping you win the game. Also, being a single tribute is extremely important. Very, very good. This is one of the best cards in the deck. Again, I think there's a skill that you can use to get this to your hand, but I'd rather just play the best tribute summons in the game. Torna, the Windweaver. So this is on the limit 3 list, meaning you can only have 3 of the cards on the limit 3 list in your deck. I would probably play more. I would probably even get rid of the Excel. Although, to be honest with you, this hasn't come up as much as I would think. Although I think once I get to the, higher levels of it, I'm only making my way through Silver right now. I've only played 20 or so matches in Ranked. But this has won me a duel, and I think you will see that later on in the replay section of this video. I do run 3 copies of Thunder the Thunder. This is easily one of the best level 3, if not the best level 3 in the entire game of Rush Duels. And that is because it lets you discard a card and a monster your opponent controls loses 300 attack. Spellcaster is all about boosting your attack value, your attack points. So this can help you get over a lot of things. This is a must include, I think, in any deck in Rush Duels right now. This is Fire Golem. This kind of is what it is. This has actually never come up where... this works really well in tandem with Torna, right? Where you can switch it to defense position, and then this can help you lose at defense. It doesn't really come up very, very often, but the most important thing is that it is a spellcaster. And this deck, of course, is only going to get better with time as new spellcaster support comes out. But yeah, 3 copies of that. 3 copies of Mystic Dealer this is, again, I think one of the best cards in Rush Duels, and just so many of those happen to be spellcasters. The only problem with spellcasters, there's not a lot of monster graveyard recursion, but there is a really important spell card that basically brings it all together. And when you have a bunch of slow levels on your body, or you have too many tribute summons, this helps you draw a card, get into the extra pieces that you need. This is a game-winning card on so many levels. Mystic Dealer is amazing. This is Mask of Valos. This is definitely something you could drop again because of the randomness that is included in Duel Links and that you don't really know what you're getting. As of right now, this is one of my better options. I didn't want to go above this because I didn't want to have 2 tribute monsters, even though there are some decent ones in there. This helps you change the attack value of one of your opponent's monster to 1500. It is a single tribute, so it's not the worst card in the world. It just hasn't come up very, very often. But at the very least, you can crash this with one of your opponent's best monsters, which I guess is okay. This is just not the best. I think once I get the other Karibo cards in there that help, a lot with recursion, that's probably what will be replaced here. This is my legend card, Summon Skull. Single tribute, 2500 attack. At the very least can help you crash with some of the best monsters in the game. And the skill that I have, Legend Draw, also like basically I can get it guaranteed to my hand in certain circumstances. 3 copies of Dark Sorcerer. This is just a normal spellcaster monster. Does have 1500 attack, which I guess has come up every once in a while. But for the most part, it is just tribute fodder and also discard fodder for the one that helps you draw a card. 3 copies of Doriado. Again, it's a normal spellcaster. It's a spellcaster. This is the recovery force, so you want to run 3 copies of this. Like I said, there's not a lot of recursion for spellcasters in form of monsters. Most monsters, or the best ones, I should say, effect-wise, basically when you normal summon, you get to add another one from the graveyard, thus giving you like infinite tribute fodder, which is very, very good. Recovery force doesn't do exactly that. But once you get rid of your opponent gets rid of your 7's Rose Magician, which 99% of the times your tribute summon monsters are going to be attacked over. That's just kind of the nature of the game. And yeah, so that's about it. Although one more card, and you can get rid of this. Again, there's no exact science to this exactly, but this is Phantom Bind. And when your opponent's monster declares an attack, the attacking monster loses attack equal to the number of monsters with the same type in your opponent's graveyard. Most of the best decks in Rush Duels right now do depend on single types like spellcasters, like dragons, and there's a few other ones like light monsters, but I think they're all, the same type, something like that. This is a really good card. I know this is amongst one of the most popular. I've literally never gotten the chance to use it, so I think that once I get to the higher levels, this is going to become really important, because if you can get rid of your opponent's, like, let's say Dragites or whatever, I always forget the name of the first one, that's really, really good. If they attack into your 7's Rose Magician and you're able to use this, that would be really, really great. But yeah, that is the deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Alright, and let's jump over to the replays here. The first one I'm going to show you is like really, really goofy, and I get like really bad luck in my opinion. But I am going first, which I think is a bit of a disadvantage in Rush Duels right now. Technically, you really want to bring out your boss monsters to destroy things, but when you're going first, as of right now, it's a lot of just setting cards, waiting till your next turn. So I guess you kind of get your engine going a little bit, but I do decide to normal summon the wind monster that helps you change the battle position. You want to draw as many cards as possible. 1600 is respectable, and it's kind of bait. I do have that psychic monster face down that does make his monster lose 300 attack. So depending on the cards that he has in his hand, I could get lucky and maybe keep that one on the field. I don't think so exactly, but nothing too wild is going to happen here. He's going to bring out the single tribute that only goes to 1600 attack, so it's just like, all right. And he's going to go ahead and finish normal summoning here. He's going to tribute into Dark Magician Girl, which is just okay, doesn't really do anything. And then another normal summon. There's just a lot of vanillas in Rush Duels right now. It is the first set, and I think it's still, generally like that in Rush Duels. I'm not up to date on it completely, but he is going to go over my all of my monsters. But I have 7's Road in my hand. All of his monsters are in attack position too, so if I draw the dragon monster as well, I'm really putting myself in a major advantage. So at this point, I feel pretty good about my position. So I'm going to go ahead and rip 4 cards, which is obviously very good. And then look at this. They're all my level 5s. I don't have a single low-level monster. Every single monster that is tributable in my hand, that is tributable in my deck, is in my hand right now, other than the dragon one. So I did not know whether or not you drew the extra card on top, or if you, because usually you draw until you have 5, but no, you do get the 6 cards, so I think that is at least worth mentioning. I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know if you just automatically lose, but I guess that makes sense. So as long as I draw any level 4, which is pretty much the only cards left in my deck, I'm going to be able to do some cool stuff, and this is what I love about Rush Duels. I've bricked beyond all comprehension. I'm down to the wire. I'm only going to have a handful of life points left. My opponent didn't use their churn very well. If they had the tribute summons in their hand, they should have used it, but maybe there is just a bunch of low-level monsters, and there's nothing they can do about it. My opponent's only going to be able to draw 1 card during the next turn. So even though I have 600 life points left, I do feel like I have a chance to play in this one. I'm going to go ahead and tribute summon this first one here, and of course it's going to be the 7's Road Magician, which is going to help me freely special summon. You want to use as many cards in your hand as possible. 7's Road Witch is going to be able to activate, so I can discard a card, which is very important, so I can draw more during the next turn. And I can bring out my ace monster, 7's Road Magician. And this is the cool part about Duel Links. They do have these pretty cool animations. I think Master Duel kind of has that, but it's not really to this level. This does make the duel feel a little bit more epic. There's also voice acting, so that's kind of entertaining as well. But these are both going to hit the board, and I can use Seven Swords Magician to activate its effect. And I can mill a card. It's going to gain a bunch of attack. And I can go ahead and Tribute Summon again. This card is going to probably gain me attack. I want to be able to clear his board of his top monsters instead of giving it to my Seven Swords Magician. And then there we go. I can tribute, or I can get over his single tribute monster. And I'm still going to draw 4 cards during that next turn. So just that one card opened up everything. And I think that's what makes the Spellcaster deck just so good. Is now I've made a complete comeback. My life points are low, so if my opponent does draw anything good, it's not going to be great for me. But then I remembered, I think my opponent only has small monsters in his hand, so he may be able to get over my Spellcaster, the 1600 attack one, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything too much after that. So here comes his army of small level monsters. And like I said, the other attributes do technically have better recursion. I think that's a discard and add a level 5 or higher dragon monster. So it looks like he is playing, the dragon version of it. Although I think this duel in particular showcases why spellcasters are just that good. And they're like recursion, the speed at which they play. And I'm going to be able to absolutely go off during my opponent's turn. So he's going to go ahead and I think just pass, maybe trying to save himself a little bit, but I think that's going to be a massive mistake. Summon Skull, and I have plenty of tribute fodder here, so I'm going to go ahead and gain some attack, get that normal summon off, and that's going to be my other Sevens row. Everything is a soft once per turn when it comes to rush duels, which is fantastic. There is no effects worth, I guess, not putting the soft once per turn, but it is really cool to be able to do this. And I can go ahead and normal summon again, go into Summon Skull. Although I think this is just overkill because I think the Sevens Road Magicians themselves are going to be able to do the damage. They're going to get up to close to 4,000 attack if I'm not mistaken. So he goes up to 39. My other one can activate its effect to mill one more card. And then there we go. It's up to 4,100 attack. And just like that, off of one draw, I was able to come back and showcase basically just how cool this deck can be and really just how cool Rush Duels are in general, because I know a lot of people, aren't really used to this format. It just came out in Duel Links. This is really the only way in America that we can play this deck or this game of Rush Duels. I'm just going to show one more because I know these duels do take quite a while. And I think this is where Torna the Wind Weaver, or whatever it's called, does come up here. And I'm just making my way through right now. If I get to the top, I'll maybe make an updated deck profile with more cards here. You do get decent rewards in Duel Links, and I guess I had also a major advantage by being a brand new Duel Links player because you just get a lot of login bonuses. This is the life gain version, and this deck, again, I just don't think it's very good at all. I don't even know what the win condition is necessarily for it, other than maybe stalling long enough for you to deck out. I'm not sure. Let's take a look at what they do. And this is probably one of the best opening hands I think I can get in the game because I'm going to be able to draw a bunch of cards and then maybe even draw one off the top or set the cards. There's no rush, ironically, in the beginning of the duel because it's really hard to OTK your opponent in turn 3 or 4. I've only done it one time, and he's just going to go ahead and normal summon a couple cards and pass turn, maybe keeping those tribute summons in his hand. He does set a card, which is kind of scary, but then I find out that it is the Tortoise card, which basically lets you draw 2 cards, which is nothing more than a waste because you're going to draw until you have 5 cards in your hand anyways. Really one of the worst traps in the game for sure. But okay, I'm going to draw a card. I do draw into the spell card again, so I don't draw into any tributes necessarily, but that's okay. No real big deal because, well, there we go. That's where you can just see how good this little engine is to draw cards. I'm able to get into my ace monster, clear his board. He's only going to draw 1 card, during his turn. So at this point, I feel like I've taken a massive, advantage over him here. Although I do think that this duel ends up going on for quite a bit of time, from what I remember. Saving those spell cards, again, you don't have to use them every time you see them. Being able to set cards is very powerful just in by itself because of the fact that you draw 5 cards per turn. So this is such a great setup here. I have no way to recur the dragon, which kind of stinks. I'm sure maybe there's a very specific dragon spell, but it's just not worth it the way I play it. It's good getting its use out for me because I do have the rest of the spellcaster support can really, fix things up. He's going to run into a couple of gazelles here, and I think he's going to start tributing here. I'm sure he's going to be able to get over my dragon monster one way or another, and that is going to be Summon Skull. And then he also summons his own dragon. So we're kind of playing the same thing, but my deck, of course, is a little bit more Spellcaster focused. And he doesn't read this card right. This wouldn't have been a game either way. He's going to crash here, but the dragon monster's effect does not go off until you destroy a monster by battle. So he's not going to be able to just attack twice. But even if he had, ordered it the right way, well, I guess there's nothing really they can do. I don't really know why he milled a card. It's almost like not even worth it for him. But okay, here we go. I'm going to rip 5 cards. I'm also going to be able to draw too. So I can't imagine I'm not going to be able to go for some really powerful plays here. And I can start normal summoning all these monsters. And I can go ahead and tribute summon for the 7's Road Magician. And I may even go ahead and, use one of my spell cards effects to shuffle back the 7's Road, the Witch, and maybe I can draw another one. We'll see. But here we go again, right? The monster's animation goes through. I don't have to watch it every time. I'm going to go ahead and summon the one that lets me discard to lower the attack. But let's see what I go up to. Should be somewhere in the 3,000 range. Yep, 3,300. And then I'm going to activate the effect. I ended up, milling the Summon Skull, which is unfortunate. There's no way for me to recur it, but I'm going to be able to get some of my draw engine going here. And off the top, I can get the Dark Sorcerer. This is not going to be enough for a game, but I am going to have a full board. Also, some recursion to go there, and the trap card too, which I think is pretty nice, especially if he attacks with the dragon monster, which I think is what most of his graveyard is filled with right now. It's cool in Duel Links that you really do play against people across the world. It is a pretty neat feature. He's only going to have 400 life points, or 400 life points left. He does get to draw 5 cards, though, so we'll see what he's going to be able to do with it. I think it kind of comes down to it, and that's obviously the cool part about Rush Duels. But let's see what ends up happening here. He's going to rip 5 cards off the top. He's setting a monster. Oh, and this is where Torna comes in. So yeah, normally this is a pretty good stall tactic. What am I going to do? I only have 3 monsters. I can't attack twice. I don't have the dragon. But, I have 5 cards coming into my hand. There's no way I'm not going to be able to do something pretty creative here. The only thing that spellcasters can't do is deal with spell and trap cards. And those cards are, specifically pretty much trap cards, like battle-related traps. But in this case, I think I'm pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and draw an extra card, which doesn't really matter. But here comes Torna, who's going to discard a card of her own. Flip one of his monsters face up, meaning that his stall strategy just isn't going to work out for him. And only has 1,400 attack. There we go. 7's Road's going to activate. And then I can even activate the effect of the level 7 to gain extra attack, just for a little bit of flex here. Why not? That's a good way to end the video. And I'm going to attack for game. So hopefully you got to look a little bit of everything. Maybe you're new to Rush Duels and you just wanted to check out someone's deck profile. That's really kind of how the gameplay works. It's all fantastic. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video. And I will see you guys next time.